And welcome back to Metropol Sports Center. My name is Nashon Owano. As I had promised you in the first part of the show I was going to be having Venant Odhiambo, who's a co-host at the Extra Time podcast, and you're going to be making sense of the developments in the English Premier League. Venant, thank you so much for finding time and coming on the show. Time for us to look at some of the highlights and things that have happened in the English Premier League. First things first, let's talk about Chelsea and Liverpool. So many surprises in that game. One team looked as if it was at the top of the game. What did you make of that particular game?
I think the result is just perfect according to what's happening right now. The fact that Chelsea under this new management seems to be on a winning run, keeping 5 clean sheets so far under the new management, and also promoting Mason Mount as the lead player who's been getting points. I like the fact that they stand Atletico Madrid in UCL, and now they're standing the Premier League winners. Yeah, it's amazing. It's according to plan. Yeah.
Now, looking at Chelsea right now, and a couple of weeks back when Frank Lampard was at the helm of the club, what do you think has changed for the team up to this point?
I think it's all accredited to the new manager. With Frank, I think it was just the tactics that he was using on his players wasn't just working. And now when you look at, when you even summarize this season, he's been given funds, he's bought the players, everything was just perfect in Chelsea's hands. Just wasn't the right person for the team. And I feel this is a bit too late for them. Had they made this switch earlier on, Chelsea would have been number 2 or even number 1. Yeah.
There are different quarters who say that probably Frank Lampard was fired too early. People feel that he should have been given more time to try and turn around the club. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Disagree. Because numbers weren't favoring him at that time. And even the defeats were brutal. Look at that Man City versus Chelsea. 4 goals, as if it's training. It's like they're on a training ground. And considering Chelsea spent the most in Europe in this summer window.
Yeah. Speaking of somebody who shouldn't have been given time, I think we want to go away without talking about Mikel Arteta. His performance at Arsenal seems to be fluctuating from time to time. One game we win, the other one we lose. It keeps on changing from time to time. What do you think is the problem at Arsenal?
The problem is with the players. Problem is with the players. And to be exact, it's the mentality that the players have. You see, most of these players are coming from the Wenger era, and some with Unai. And Arteta is this new guy who's trying to shift their mindset into a winning one. Yeah. So it's just all to the players' mentality, their attitude on the game. Yes, which Arteta is accentuating a change. Yeah.
At Manchester United, they drew with the Crystal Palace this past week. Was it a scoreline that you probably expected?
No, and some fans say this is the most boring game in EPL this season.
Okay. What happened to Mourinho playing boring football in the EPL?
I think Mourinho will be successful at Tottenham. Yeah, we shouldn't write him off yet. Look at how he's transformed some of these players. Nobody believed Ken will be the player with the most assists. You know, normally when we have assists, we think about players like Ozil, we think about Fabregas, we think about KDB, we think about Odegaard, we think about these midfielders. But we never thought we'd have a situation where the guy with the most assists is the actual talisman of the team, Kane now. Yeah, so he's shifted the style of play at Spurs, and right now even though in EPL they're a bit surprisingly outside the top 5, I feel he'll be successful at Spurs.
Okay. Looking at Manchester City versus Wolves, that particular game. As we're talking right now, Manchester City at the top of the helm. Do you think the title is done and dusted as of now?
That one is sealed, considering this is 21 wins. Successful, consistent wins in a row. That's history already. They've matched what they did I think in the 2018-2019 season. And what is left right now is the trophies to cement that legacy of this season.
Okay, Liverpool. We won't run away without talking about Liverpool in the EPL. I wanted to get your analysis on probably what you think is the problem at Liverpool, because they seem to have they've already lost like 5 games at Anfield, and you remember at the beginning of the season they were the ones who were making the loudest noise about winning at home, but right now they seem to be struggling a lot. What exactly is going on at Anfield?
Let's start from Liverpool. For the first time in their history, they've lost 5 home games in a row. And this is because of things like fatigue. And Klopp said this thing as early as last season. Most of these players, you're playing in the UCL, you're playing in the Carabao, FA Cup, like you're continuously playing, and the time in between these games is very short for Liverpool. So fatigue creeps in, and when you are playing the same players game in, game out, eventually they become tired. Number 2, the loss of Van Dijk. That's very huge for them. And they've done over 15 pairs of centre backs at the back since he got injured, and it has been fragile for them. They've been just conceding a lot of goals, including 7 from Aston Villa. And then also we look at the fact that they now need somebody new to help them with the goals. Salah and Mane, they're good, but now they need a proper centre forward. I feel when they make such changes, they also need somebody in the middle, in the midfield, to pair up with Thiago. Because now when you look at Liverpool, they used to have a player called Coutinho, and he was amazing. But now with this departure, I always say that shoe has never been filled. So with those small tweaks, yeah, they'll be okay.
Okay. Do you think they should have bought more players in the January transfer window?
Given the opportunity, they should have a long time. I like the fact that they tried to patch up that defense by bringing Kazak and the other guy, forgotten his name. But I feel they should have gotten players from the Premier League, because there are a lot of great underpriced players in the lower tier clubs who, given the opportunity to play at Liverpool, even for a loan, it will have been perfect. Yeah.
Looking at the squad right now, what are some of the things that you probably think now Jurgen Klopp needs to make? What are some of the fundamental changes that he probably needs to make at this particular point?
For starters, getting a centre forward. They've been heavily linked with Mbappe. They've been heavily linked with Haaland. Yes, so they need a Kane-like striker up front who Salah and Mane can feed. They also need a number 10 there. Now, like I said, Coutinho. They need somebody over there to just feed these forwards the ball. They also need, because they have the wing backs, that's properly covered. They also need another Van Dijk. Yeah.
Do you think the Mbappe transfer might happen? Because right now Mbappe is a top player. There's so many teams that have actually would really want to have Mbappe in their squad. Do you think there's a possibility of it happening?
Let's agree, Mbappe is one of the best players in the world of football right now. And such players deserve to play in the best clubs. And right now, what Mbappe is eyeing is Real Madrid. With Liverpool, I don't see that happening right now, especially with the current form, because Mbappe is not leaving a UCL final team to go and to Liverpool, which are outside the top 4 right now. Yeah, so the best case scenario for Mbappe is Real Madrid.
So one of the reservations that people usually have with players going to Real Madrid is the fact that when they go to Real Madrid, they are the top form, performing very well. But then after a couple of seasons, you cannot even hear those players. Do you think that will be a good move for Mbappe to make?
It will be the best move for Mbappe to make, going to Real Madrid. Yeah, they need him at the moment. They have young talents over there, like Vinicius, who is playing brilliantly over there. So I feel this is a good investment for Real Madrid. They should make that move ASAP.
Okay, so quickly let's wrap up the race for the top 4. Which teams do you fancy are going to be at the top 5 at the end of this season, just before we delve into the Fantasy Premier League?
Okay, so Chelsea, definitely. With the current form, it's amazing. Man City, already they have clinched it. By the mathematically, they are safe from relegation. Manchester United, definitely for sure. Ole Gunnar is going to prove many United fans wrong, especially those people who said Ole out. Shout out to Clint. You guys are going to be disappointed. That's already 3. I hope West Ham continue their form and Leicester. Yes.
Arsenal, you've not mentioned Arsenal, and probably for the fans, people who are watching the show, you're an Arsenal fan. Why don't you think Arsenal is going to be at the top 5 finish?
Because we are far from being a Champions League team. With the current mentality, we need to work. Actually, the immediate goal for Arsenal is form. We need to work on our form first and foremost. And then number 2, we need to get the right players. I like the fact that Arteta is doing this Operation Fagia. He did this Operation Fagia in January, where he was dishing out players to other clubs and removing their unnecessary players, which is good. I feel now from there we need to now get the right players. So this season, no. Next season, maybe. The other season, for sure, yes.
Okay. Let's look at the teams that might be relegated at the end of this season. Leeds United came into the English Premier League with a lot of pomp, but right now they don't seem to be, performing very well. Do you fancy that they might actually be relegated at the end of the season?
It all boils down to the manager. Yes, the manager is the manager is one of the best managers in the EPL right now. But I feel he needs to adapt to the current system. He's rigid on his part, and as a result, Leeds have been losing unnecessary games. So if he doesn't make some changes to his team and some changes to his plan, I feel eventually they might be relegated, though I see them staying.
Okay. Let's quickly delve into the Fantasy Premier League. I know probably people who do not know, you are so much into the Fantasy Premier League. Maybe for somebody who would like to understand, how is the Fantasy Premier League played and what is it about?
Okay, so Fantasy Premier League is a subsidiary of the Premier League. So this is a game where you get to choose the best players from EPL. And based on how they perform in real life, you get points accordingly. It's divided into leagues. There are mini leagues and there's the official leagues. So each and every manager is ranked according to now the FPL database, but also us as fans, we are given the opportunity to create mini leagues. Let's say, for example, I can create one around guys at my workplace where we compete against each other, but in our own league. Hence, it's called a mini league. And then also FPL, they have their own league where everybody who has created a team is there. And whoever gets to win wins money, gets to attend a couple of Premier League games, including pre-season, and is given some very memorable presents to them. So they always try each and every year to make this show or this game bigger and bigger. And as we speak right now, they have registered over 8 million managers all over the world. Yeah, so it's just a fun game where you can get to also expand your knowledge on football, get to know who's who can help you, and yeah, it's just a fun way of just enjoying football. Yeah.
And probably curating a team that you in real life probably you will not have had an opportunity to create. Maybe for somebody who might be asking, what's the difference between the Fantasy Premier League and betting? You know, somebody might be asking, what's the difference, you know, so to speak.
So difference number one, you're not losing money on FPL. You know, like, you know, with betting you're just, it's a game of probability. It's a game of probability. Actually, one of the differences I can say is in FPL you're getting points. In betting you're getting money. Yes. And in FPL when you lose, it's just a normal day. Like life goes on. You know, with betting, when you lose like money, especially kama ni mondolewa na bet moja, it kind of tends to give you some small migraines. Yeah. But now with FPL it's just fun. And then also number 3, with FPL it's more of a player. It's player based. In betting, it's team based. You know, with betting, you're looking at the team. What are the odds of this team winning in the first half? What are the odds of this team scoring a certain amount of goals in 90 minutes, in 40 minutes, in whatever minutes? Which is the next team to score the next goal? But in FPL is how many assists can this player, do you think this player will get? How many goals do you think this player will get? Will this player get bonus points? Bonus points are those points we get for those exceptional players who played well in the game. How many clean sheets will this player get? So based on those factors, you get to choose the players. But in betting, it's more of form, like how is this team performing, how many goals are they conceding, scoring, corners, yellow cards, red cards. Yeah.
Okay. Venant, as we wrap up, maybe you could tell us how can people get in touch with you in case of matters FPL, and also mention you being part of the Extra Time podcast.
It's all about Extra Time podcast, to be honest. Extra Time podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all media platforms, kina SoundCloud, Apple Music, we were even before, tulikuwa Spotify before Spotify wakuje. So I feel like Spotify should let us introduce them to the Kenyan market. So yeah, so basically all media platforms tuko hapo, Extra Time Podcast, KE, just search for Extra Time Podcast with an X, of course. You'll definitely find us.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Venant, for finding time to come on the show. Looking forward to having you on the show once again as we talk matters English Premier League. Well, that wraps up the second part of the show. We take a short commercial break. We'll be back.